So it's January 2025. It's really cold at the moment, so I've been putting off coming out and doing this, but it really is time to start getting this car ready for track days this year. Front brakes really needed doing now, so annoyingly I'd done the pads not too long ago, but the discs have got quite a lip on them and they really need changing now. So those discs are originally Brembo discs that have been grooved by Courtney Sport. They were really good, to be fair. They lasted quite a long time. They were quite noisy was the only thing, probably because they kind of grooved them in-house. But yeah, I've decided to go to Black Diamond discs. So I always used to use these. Had these on, the Mondeo originally. In fact, that car over there. Had them on an Astra and my BMW M Sport Coupe. So yeah, I thought we'd go back with them. They was always really good before. I can't believe how heavy they are. I barely pick up the box. So yeah, they are 330mm discs, obviously same as what we've got on there now. So they're grooved discs. They've obviously got coating on at the moment, but obviously that coating will burn off. So yeah, we'll get them on soon. Also got another set of Brembo HP 2000 pads. So these are what I've always used, and they've been really good as well, to be fair. Yeah, so one's got obviously the sensor lead on it, the rest should have nothing. Yeah, they look good. Annoyingly, the pads I've got on there at the minute are actually pretty new, but yeah, obviously you can't really change discs without changing the pads as well, so I will keep the current ones, and they can always go, once these ones are bedded in, they can always be used as spares however need them. So that's all the general maintenance stuff, but I'm still struggling, I'd say, with temperatures on the track. So these things are designed to run hot anyway. Obviously it improves emissions by them running hot, and it's not uncommon when you're on track to see it sort of like getting on 115 degrees C. And you just sort of think, with a car that's tuned above the power it's meant to be running at, that's a bit scary. So got finally after years managed to get hold of one of these, because Courtney was struggling to get them themselves, but it's a thermostat that opens 5 degrees earlier than the standard thermostat. So yeah, hopefully that will help in a little bit, because it's gonna obviously get the cooling process going earlier on. It's not necessarily going to make it run cooler overall though, so contemplating at the moment whether we swap the rad out again for an alloy radiator. But yeah, we'll see. I believe that, you know, there's some cheaper ones on the market, but I've heard a lot of horror stories about them all leaking, so I think the way to go would be pro alloy, but you're looking at like £1,000 for an alloy radiator with one of those. And I'm kind of, yeah, I'm umming and ahhing, because it's not like I'm running massive power, so you kind of feel like you shouldn't need it, but by the same token, I think it's probably going to be the one piece that really changes this for good, really gets those temperatures right down. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll see what I decide. So what I will be doing is obviously a full coolant swap, because I've got to get the thermostat out anyway, which is going to involve completely draining the system. So yeah, when I do that, I don't tend to run, well, certainly much in the way of antifreeze anyway. So I think this year we'll run no antifreeze at all, because the car's always garage. It doesn't get used really in the winter, so it shouldn't really be an issue. So yeah, that will help obviously get the temperatures down, because there'll be no glycol in the fluid. Also kind of thinking about an oil cooler, but it won't necessarily get your engine temperatures down. And my only other concern, well, I've got a couple of concerns with it. One is that I'd probably be mounting it in there, which is going to then block even more air to the radiator. So that's potentially not going to help with engine temps anyway. But also you're putting extra pressure on the oil pump, because obviously at the minute it has got a little cooler, but it's built in, it's just like a kind of a little heatsink, if you like, sort of style thing at the bottom of the engine. So you're then taking oil out of the engine, pumping it through a separate kind of radiator and then back in, and sort of just thinking, is that going to come back to bite me? Is it going to be putting extra strain on that oil pump that's going to lead to an issue? So yeah, we'll see with that. I think definitely the radiator seems the more sensible route to go first. It's just whether I do that now or whether I do the full coolant change, the thermostat, and see how it runs this year. So yeah, I'll see. So last thing on the agenda, or I think it's the last thing on the agenda for now, is I'm still getting some arch rubbing. So only at Paddock Hill at Brands. If anyone knows Paddock Hill, you'll know just how ridiculously harsh that is. So it's always on this side, and yeah, mostly at the front we still get a little bit of rubbing, and then we get a tiny bit at the back. The back I'm not at all concerned about. It really is tiny. So I know some of that rubbing is to do with the inner arches. This is from the driver's side. I've pulled out the inner arch. This is the least affected arch, and you can see just there it's actually cut itself a little hole through there. Honestly, if I put my hand in that side, I can literally get my fingers through the hole it's cut over there. So yeah, I know for sure it's rubbing these inner arches, and these do extend in from the actual arch. So I believe just by removing these, I probably wouldn't get any rubbing at all. Well, hopefully not a lot anyway. But I don't want to leave the arch unprotected. So I've been looking into what I can do there, and I've got some of this stuff. So I can't even remember what it's called. Hang on. I've looked it up. It's high density polythene. So I've got this from Demon Tweaks, and this is what they suggest for wheel arch material, or sorry, inner arch material anyway. So yeah, I will be making some inner arches that will sit deeper in the arch, so it still keeps everything protected from stone chips, you know, water ingress, etc, etc, but it won't clash with the wheels. And yeah, it's not like I need these full inner arches, because at the end of the day the car's not really on the road anymore. It's just driven to and from the track, and then obviously doing the track days. So yeah, it's not like it's out in the rain and all that sort of stuff. So we'll get these done. I'm just going to do the rear sections, because the fronts, I don't, well, that side's rubbed itself through anyway, so it's not really causing an issue anymore. The issue seemed to be more on the back, I believe. Sorry, the rear of the inner arch. So yeah, and also on the existing front section of the inner arch, I've got my little brake ducts in there. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to change that design, so I'm literally just going to kind of get rid of the flappy bits on the inside of what's left of the inner arch and make a new rear part of the inner arch.